Hey folks, it's Chef Kevin, and tonight I'm making one of the most iconic comfort foods thought of. I'm making Philly cheesesteak hero. Now, let me give you a little history on the cheesesteak hero because it is kind of interesting. This is one of the recipes that was designed accidentally. So back in 1930, there was a hot dog vendor named Pat Oliveri, and he had a hot dog cart, and one day he ran out of hot dogs, but he had some beef floating around, so he put some beef, cooked beef, on a hero, and the cheesesteak was born. However, it wasn't until the 1950s where the cheesesteak was actually created. So it took an additional 20 years to get cheese on a hero. Don't ask me why it took so long. So in 1939, Pat Oliveri, he opened up his steakhouse, King of Steaks, Pat's King of Steaks, and he served exclusively Philly cheesesteaks. So that's what I'm making tonight. Let's take a closer look. There's not a lot of stuff here. This is super simple stuff. Okay, let's take a look at the main player here. This is Old Neighborhood brand beef shaved steak. So this is ribeye steak, super thin. You can almost see through it. And this is what Pat uses at his restaurant, and Gino as well. Gino's another famous cheesesteak place in Philly. In fact, they're only a block away. So this is what they use, ribeye. Other places use other cuts. I think it's all pretty much the same. Okay, I have Mexican style 4-cheese blend. So we have Monterey Jack, cheddar, queso quesadilla, and acero cheeses. Well, they certainly don't use this in Philly. Salt and pepper. I have 3 mini bell peppers. That's going to add some color. It's going to add some extra flavor. And I have a couple of white button mushrooms. I'm only making one hero for myself. If you've seen most of my videos, the food I cook is more than likely going to be my dinner. And this is no exception. And the last thing to talk about is the bread. Now, Pat and Gino's use bread, hero rolls, or hoagies, whatever you want to call it, from Amorosa Bakery. So they use a special hero, and that's supposed to be what you really should be using. However, I'm here on the Eastern Shore of Virginia, and we don't have a lot of choices, so I did find this decent looking sourdough hero, or baguette they're calling it, at my local food line. So that said, let's get right into this. Okay, I have a very large pan here, and that's only because I don't have a smaller pan that is non-stick. You pretty much have to use a non-stick pan when it comes to cheese. And I have a couple of tablespoons of rapeseed oil in there. My 2 sliced mushrooms. They do look pretty lonely, I will say that. And I'm going to put a little sea salt on top of that, and that'll help jar out the moisture. Now I'm putting the mushrooms in first because they take longer to cook. Now I have my onions and peppers in there. And what I want to do is actually want to get a little char on the outside of these. That'll give it a little bit more flavor. This is going to cook quick though. I have that heat up pretty high. So I figure about 4 minutes, maybe 5 minutes tops. getting ready to throw that beef in there soon. Just getting some char on there. Now this would not be the way it would be done in a commercial kitchen. That's about 7 ounces of shaved ribeye. And that's going to cook quick too, since it's so thin. Now in a commercial kitchen, the steak would be cooked separately, and the onions would be cooked separate from the peppers, and so on. This way, when a person places an order, they can customize the hero for them, because a lot of people don't want onions, maybe, or you don't want mushrooms. I don't know why you wouldn't want onions or mushrooms. So I'm making this with everything. That's how they say it in Philly. With. That means with. With onions, with peppers. See, I bet you didn't know that. That's why you have to be a member of my channel. You get this good info. No fake news. Now, I really didn't have to break apart the meat, because it was shaved and it was thin, and it was actually nicely shredded up. And the whole point of this video is to make it nice and easy. I mean, I know you can buy a piece of ribeye, but try cutting it by hand that thin. It's just not going to happen. Now, there's that old trick where you can put the steak in the freezer for 15-20 minutes, and that'll make it firm and easier to cut. But you still can't get it thin enough by hand, so that's why I'm using this. Now I'm putting the cheese in, and that's 1.5 cups of cheese. I want this to be nice and cheesy. Stir that around. That'll melt quick. This will be done in probably a minute. Stir that in there. Smells so good. I don't know if Gina would enjoy this particular hero. Nice and cheesy. Now here's something that wouldn't be Pat approved at all. I actually have some Duke's habanero garlic mayo. And yeah, why not? This will add some extra flavor. You can use regular mayo if you like mayo. I sometimes use A1 steak sauce. That goes good with steaks, so why not? But I guess I'm in the mood for mayo. Now this is actually the hard part, is plating it. Alright, let's plate this bad boy. Now I'm also going to serve this with seasoned potato wedges, which I really like, so easy to make too. And I'll put a link in that at the end of this video. You gotta have fries with a cheesesteak hero. I don't know, do they serve fries at Pat's? I bet they do. I've never been there. I gotta go there at one point though. Pat's or Gino's. You can actually arrange a tour of the Philly cheesesteak restaurants in Philly. Although I don't really know how that works. I mean, how many heroes can you eat? This one here was really even too big for me. I had half of it and called it a night. Looks good, nice and cheesy. And I actually made a hot ketchup dipping sauce, which was another easy thing to do. I just took some ketchup and I put in a chopped chipotle pepper, which chipotle pepper is a smoked jalapeno. So that gave it a nice little kick, nice little spice. I don't like boring food. Well, there it is, folks. Okay, folks, so hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you learned something, and maybe you'll even make one of these for yourself. It's actually pretty easy to do. So, if you like my show, if you like my channel, if you like me, whatever, then just think about subscribing. No pressure.
How about new?
I'm really sorry about that, folks, but somehow Dr. Evil hacked my channel.
Dr. Evil. I didn't spend 6 years in evil medical school to be called Mr. Thank you very much.
Okay, Dr. Evil, whatever. You need to get off my channel, though. Told you this before. You know these YouTube channels are free. You know that, right?
Oh, look at me. I'm shaking my little space boot.